My name is Faith Swain, and I am Ojibwe. I am the granddaughter of Tom Molyneux First Nations from Bear Island Reservation. I am also the Indigenous Youth Ambassador at GROW. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. We are working closely with our Indigenous community to advocate for a just food system and to create community food programs that are culturally relevant, diverse, equitable, and inclusive. I'll now turn it over to Carlee and Trevor so we can start baking.
Excellent. Thank you, Faith. Hi, everyone. So I'm Carlee.
I'm Trevor.
We're both local teachers. I'm trying to think what else to say.
You're a local artist.
Yeah, I guess that's true too. I am a local artist. I really like making bread.
Yeah.
I have a lot of food allergies, so I've had to learn how to cook a lot of food from scratch, and we've kind of both learned over the years how to do that.
Which has always kind of been nice. It's always been something we've done together. And it's a chance for us to connect and be healthy mentally with each other.
Yeah.
And in general. So we always enjoy being in the kitchen.
Yeah. So we're excited to do this multigrain bread with everyone today. Whether you have like a stand mixer or you're just gonna work with a bowl like us, what we're gonna do is we're gonna first start by measuring out our flour. So we're gonna start off with just bread flour. So I'm actually gonna use a weight for mine, which if you also have a scale, we're looking for 197 grams. If you are not using a scale, that's about 1.5 cups is what you want to measure out. So.
Well, I'm sorry. You might take out the whole thing. Oh.
Then it gets all in there, and I don't like
that. I'm here for charm and looks.
He is here for the
mostly
charm.
for chat.
He's for charm and support. And then once you have that, we're going to add our whole wheat flour. So it's about 1/2 cup if you're measuring with cups. If you're not, like me, if you're going to be measuring it out with a scale, we're looking for 76 grams. And if you go a little over or under, it's okay. Or a lot over. Look, I'm cute. That's and then last but not least, we're going to add our rye flour. So we're looking for 30 grams or about 2 tablespoons. Now, you can alter the ratio a little bit of the whole wheat and the rye, even the white a little bit. You want at least half white flour though if you're going to do the multigrain. So just kind of keep that in mind.
30. Yep.
Got to get at least one of them right on. We're going to add a pinch of salt. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to mix that together so that all your flours are nice and blended. If you want to add cinnamon to this recipe, now would also be a great time to do that. And you can kind of add as much as you want to taste. I tend to pile it in pretty good. Yeah, and then make sure it's all mixed in. I did say I was going to get I said I wore a black shirt so that I could get flour all over it, and that's the start of it. Hopefully, if you're cooking along, you have all of your flours mixed. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to make a well in the center. So what that means, do a little tilt. What it means is basically you're going to push your flour to the sides of your bowl so that the center of your bowl is much lower than the rest of your bowl. Yeah.
Jumping the gun.
You're jumping the gun. So the first thing we're gonna put in the bottom of our well is we're gonna put our sweetener. So we like to use honey. I can't really have like refined sugar. So I usually stick with honey for baking. You could use maple if you wanted a different kind of taste or whatever kind of sweetener you like. I usually like my bread a little bit sweeter. So I'm gonna take a pretty hunky big tablespoon. But if you don't like sweetener as much, if you don't like things that are too sweet, or if you're just watching your sugar, you definitely don't need as much as I am doing. I might even do a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am.
Let's be honest.
Like even just like a teaspoon would be lots. I'm just gonna go for it.
What's nice with, especially when you add the honey with some of the nuts and some of the other, just it does make it taste
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rustic. Go for it.
Oh, we got more here.
I'll take care of that.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, kitchen
No
helper.
worries.
Yeah, I just gotta rinse the honey off my finger. Okay, now that we have our sweetener on the bottom, we are gonna add our yeast. So it's about 2 teaspoons or 5 grams. And again, I'm just gonna measure it out this way. And that's all I need for the scale. And next what I'm gonna do is we wanna put the water on top. So it's 275 milliliters. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat it up in the microwave. Probably with our microwave, it's about 45 seconds. If you have a thermometer, you can check, you want it between 100 and 110 Fahrenheit. And if I am going too fast for anyone, please chime in. Love to chit chat with people. If you don't have a thermometer, just something that's warm but not hot is what you're looking for essentially. So I'll double check. Like I feel like that's good. Yeah, and it's perfect. It's 104. So like a nice warm bath water. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour it on top of our yeast and honey. And now we are gonna let that activate our yeast. So I'll show you what that looks like in a couple of minutes, but basically at this point, it's gonna have to sit for a few minutes. So we get to entertain you in a minute. Lucky you guys. What we can do though, is we can actually get ready any of the things that we wanna add into it. So for instance, we have some millet here that we've soaked. And then we've drained everything out of it. So you can take a little look if you've never seen millet before. Trevor loves it.
It was more commonly used in medieval Europe with peasants, actually.
And it was, if you went to the bulk barn, say 10 years ago, you had to go and look for it in like bird seed.
Yeah.
It has like a nice little crunch. So we usually like to add that. Because
Yeah.
if I don't, somebody here.
It's really, it's like a little surprise. You're just like, I'm chomping, and then it's a nice little extra bit of texture and crunch. But yeah, it was used primarily as a porridge in medieval times. Look at that.
You Googled
No, I just
trivia?
I just know history. What can I say? It's what I teach sometimes.
I'm also gonna put some walnuts in it today. Oh, I never even thought we could have done an apple piece. Do you want to do an apple?
Yeah, why not? See, this is the great thing about this recipe is that it's like, oh, we have an apple here sitting by, and it will add a little bit of extra sweetness, more.
Not at all.
But it is a good recipe if you have things, you know.
It's kind of a throw everything into it kind of bread, which is why we really like it. So you can, like on the recipe that I included for everyone, you could do sunflower seeds, like pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, millet, like I said. I've done the apple bread before, like apple walnuts, and which actually will be nice with the extra bit of honey. So you can throw that at like dried fruit, if you have any dried fruit, or we'll stick with this.
One of my favorites when we do this apple with the walnut is to actually the next day use it for French toast. It's like
I've never
add more syrup, just some more sweetness. But it does, and again, it's that extra bit of crunch that I really like in the apples, and that's nice.
So you can kind of start getting those together and get them in a bowl. Roughly, I'm pretty loosey-goosey with this. So it says, I can't remember if I put 2 tablespoons as well on your recipe, but it's 30 milliliters or 2 tablespoons. Sometimes I end up adding a little bit more. I like mine packed with more nuts and seeds and things like that. So we'll add 1 whole apple here just because
we had it.
And then we'll add the millet and some walnuts. But for now, we're just letting our yeast activate and get very happy. You're the entertainment right now.
Oh yes, watch me cut some apples. It's a very like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know how Emerald does it. Guy has high energy at all times.
There's somebody here.
Someone's here?
This is really weird. We don't ever get anyone at our house.
Somebody's literally at our door?
Yeah, somebody just knocked at the door.
Oh, I didn't hear that. No.
And they're loitering.
Oh, okay. Ah, we have a special guest visitor, maybe. Who knows? Oh, it's Carlee's mother. Mother-in-laws. So, yeah, this apple's really good. Enjoy apples. Carlee's mother, or everyone, Mona, had a quick little guest.
She didn't know we're doing this.
No, not today. She usually lets us know before coming over. Surprise.
Don't put it in
that's
yet.
right, yes.
We're still waiting for it.
I'm eating it, so when we say a whole apple,
just under a whole apple.
probably like 3/4, because it's really good.
Oh, I think we have a
We have a
question.
question?
Have I always, yes. Have we always had an interest in baking?
Yeah.
Yes. So even when I was in high school, I mean, back then I ate a very different diet from what I eat now. If you think this is a lot of sugar, which is probably why I have so many digestive problems. But I always loved baking. I used to watch Anna Olsen and stuff like that, and I would bake things for whenever we had family over. And then we started making, like, whenever there was a family event. That actually the way that I got into breads is because we would make pie. Trevor would do the filling, I would do the dough. And I got really into that, and I started trying my hand at like real bread doughs. Took a bread course at Niagara College. And now, you know, we're always rife with cinnamon buns in the house, and we have a sourdough going. And so, yeah, it's been, I would say, since high school. Oh, you're gonna bring Sebastian now?
And then like, yeah, and we sort of said before, like our, like we really as a couple cook
I'll put
together.
it on this because this is.
Oh yeah. We really cooked together quite a lot. And
Yeah.
baking was part of growing up for me. So it was always something. So this is,
Oh no, that's not, that's yeast
this
stuff.
is yeast. So we do have a sourdough going on. We have to feed it a lot.
Yeah, she's looking a little rough, but it's been a rough school year. So
Yeah.
she looks how we feel on the inside a little bit.
But this is a lovely thing to have.
Oh yeah, she's looking real out of the top.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And then we like also like, I love that we know how to do pitas, which is really nice because those kind of have it. Yeah, just a different use. I quite like those.
Yeah, like we make pizza dough from scratch. What else?
Yeah.
Like all
Pretty
of
good,
that.
as you said, like a lot of it stems from like we have to make things ourselves.
Like you'd be surprised how much like sugar is in everything, right?
Or milk.
Or dairy, which is the other big thing. So it's yeah, it kind of stemmed out of necessity, but I don't mind doing it. So what is that? Is that somebody's hand? I can't tell. No, it just says recording. Okay.
Yeah.
We're learning as we go.
We're learning
here.
as we go.
So my yeast is kind of getting there now. What you're looking for is it should be like a nice foam that's sitting on the top of your water. I can see that mine's probably just a couple minutes away. We might, just because of time, we might just jump ahead soon anyways.
But we can always show it.
Yeah, but it's like, see right there, it's looking good.
Yeah, it is good.
I wonder if we can do like the tilt. Before becoming a teacher, did you want to pursue cooking? Not really.
I had thoughts of it.
Yeah, I would say same, but like as much as the teacher life sucks.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's like we're working weekends and evenings to lesson plan and stuff. You know, if you get into cooking, you're working all of your evenings and nights because you know, that's when dinner is. So that didn't interest me, but.
No, I thought like, because cooking was a big part of my family upbringing. It just always had an interest. I debated it, but never followed through. I had a girlfriend who went into it. Glad I didn't go through with it. Let's just say that.
Carlee and Trevor, my son David has a question. He wanted to know if you've ever made donuts from scratch.
Oh, yes. Do you have the recipe?
My grandmother was quite well known for donuts. So usually every Christmas, sometimes in an extra special year, we do it in the summer too. We make donuts and then gobble them all up in about 48 hours, I'd say.
And they don't use yeast, so you have
which is why it's an only once a year thing. Sweets, cookies, donuts, those things don't last too long here, so we try and not do them every weekend.
Yeah, donuts are very much a special occasion.
Yeah,
which is nice. Which is cool because you use your grandmother's recipe, which is kind of nice.
So I'm gonna bring this over and I'm gonna move the. I said I wasn't gonna touch the computer, but I'm gonna touch it because I want to show you an overhead view so you can kind of see. So you can see that we're getting bubbles. Sorry if it's really actually, because then I can point. Then you can keep it steady. There we go. Like that. Okay. There we go. So you can see that there's like the bubbles and it's starting to foam. That means our yeast is activating, and that's what we're looking for with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start maybe just a touch early.
We good?
I think we're good. I'm going to start maybe just a touch early. It'll be fine. So if you see the yeasty foam kind of happening, you're more than welcome to join and get started as well. So what I'm going to do is to save my hands a little bit, actually, before I stir this.
Mhm.
Now is the time that we're gonna add all of our extra ingredients. So I'm gonna throw the millet in. Those apples are gonna go in. I'm just gonna dump a bunch of walnuts in. What else could you add to that? You could add some cocoa if you really wanted.
Mhm.
If you wanted to do more like a chocolate bread. I haven't done that personally, but I don't, not a huge fan of it and stuff like this. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some oil. So what did I put down for you? I think I put down about 2 tablespoons. I can't remember. This recipe is a little bit different from the one that I gave you guys. So I'm totally gonna just wing it for mine, but that's because I've been doing this, I'd say, a while. 2 tablespoons of oil. And you can use, so we just used olive oil. You can use a vegetable oil. You can melt coconut oil. You can use like a little slab of butter. It's really, this is like a real choose your own adventure kind of situation here, which is why I like it. Once you got your oil in, you have all of your other ingredients. We're gonna mix this bad boy up. More flour.
More flour.
So you might find, if you're like me, that it's almost more like a muffin batter at this point. And that's okay. We're gonna have some extra flour on hand. Can you grab the, you put it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna use white, but you could use whole wheat if you're using these proportions, because we're still good for that. Want it to be a little less muffin battery. So let's throw just I'm gonna throw about roughly like a loose handful.
I guess we added a little bit more moisture.
Yes, we definitely did. Just want it so that it's a little less sticky, so it's easier for us to work with. That should be a little bit better. Then, so this is what mine looks, we're still gonna need that.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is what mine looks like. Still kind of muffin battery, but that's okay because we'll need it and we'll work it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just throw a whole bunch of flour on my work surface. I might even do a little bit extra. Good idea at this point to get some on. Oh, look at those goopy hands. Get a little bit on your hands, might help with that goopy hand situation. Oh yeah. And I'm just gonna take the whole thing and dump it out. That's probably good enough. Sure. Oh, I thought you were gonna do that. It has more on it. So that's that goopy hand situation right there is where I like to use the spoon at first. But to each their own,
Yeah.
my friend. Okay. Now here's the great part. If you're like us and you don't have a bread machine, and you come home and you just had a really frustrating day, you get to take all of that out on your bread. So if you've never kneaded bread before, you're going to make friends with the palm of your hand. So give them just a minute. It looks like they need a second to catch up there. Flour. Well, because it'll be loud though. I wouldn't worry about it. We'll just oil it up as is. Okay, so if you've never kneaded before, what you're going to do is you're going to shove the middle of your bread with the, what would you call this part of your hand? The heel of your hand?
Yeah.
And then you grab and kind of fold it over and then turn. And then you kind of do the same thing. You're just folding it over on itself and using the heel of your hand to constantly kind of force it into itself. Now, if you're like us and you put apples in it, you definitely are going to have more of a challenge. Feel free to add more flour as needed. If it's still really sticky as you're kneading, like ours is, add more flour as you go. See how much flour I can get on you while I do this. You be my flour guy.
Mm-hmm.
You need some more. It's still pretty sticky. Let's put some on the bottom first. Now on top. See, now I'm having a hand situation of my own there, my friend.
So I fit in, I'll just put some flour on my sheet.
Oh.
No?
You have more than me now.
Oh.
So the recipe does say to knead for like 10 minutes. If you're using a stand mixer, I find that usually like 5 minutes is lots. Sometimes even 5 minutes is lots when you're kneading by hand. We're looking for a very specific consistency. We're going to need more. First. Looking for like a nice smooth consistency where the bread feels soft but not sticky. So depending on the humidity, you might need to add more or less flour. I've found recently, these past couple of days, I've needed to add, get my brain working right. I needed to add a little extra flour. Still sticky. Oh boy.
On top. It'll be good.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. More?
Yeah, just a little more here. They're still pretty sticky, so.
A lot of it goes by feel. Carlee's a better bread maker out of the two of us. But that's all right. On your own stuff.
Well, it's just that I've been making bread
Yeah.
more, so I'm more used to kind of looking for how it's supposed to feel. But again, you're just looking for soft, but not sticky. And the moment it kind of comes together is just a beautiful moment. You might find, like me, little bits of millet kind of fly out. That's okay. We've put lots in, so we're getting there. We're almost there. You can see it's sticking less to the board for us, sticking less to my hands. It's just a little easier to knead. I'm just kind of going around the board and kind of collecting all of the leftover flour. Almost there. Do a little bit more.
Mhm.
Very close, people.
It does help to have a second person with bread making, so you don't have to keep dipping back and forth. But
When Trevor's not here, I won't lie, I totally just I dip right in.
yeah, it's easier to have this if you do.
Yes. You have the kitchen helper. There we go. Yep, if you're like us and you did apples and anything falls out, just shove them right back in. There we go. Oh, there we go. There's my baby.
A lot of apple.
There's a lot of apple in this. That's okay. It's gonna be delicious. I haven't done an apple bread in a long time. So it's just kind of come together. There we go. So it's not really like, it's a little tacky, but it's not, you know, giving you claw hand or goop hand. And you can see that it's like nice and soft still. That's what we're looking for. And when you get to that point, I know some of us are still kneading, and that's okay, no rush. But when you get to that point, you're going to throw a little bit of oil into your bowl. I'm just reusing the same bowl that I used before. But if you wanted to give your bread a little bit of a kickstart, you could wash the bowl out and then run a little bit of hot water on the bottom and then oil it. And that heat will just give your yeast a nice little kickstart. And then what I like to do.
To knead it till it's soft as a baby's bum.
Yeah. That.
I would say that's as soft as a baby's bum.
It is baby bum soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And then what I do is I have this nice side, because I kind of formed it into a round. So I have this nice smooth side. And then on the bottom is where I have my seam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it seam side up. I'm just going to use that to kind of coat the rest of the bowl. And then I'm going to flip it. So now I have the top oiled and the bottom oiled. That's what I want. And Trevor's going to heat up a tea towel. We got a tea towel. He's going to he's going to soak it with the nice hot water, and we're going to put that over top. Alternately, you can put, you can put some saran wrap on it as well. I would recommend that if you know you're going to be cooking it sooner, tea towel is a great way of doing it. If you're not going to cook it for a while, I would recommend saran wrap for it.
So why do you cover the top?
Putting me on the spot. So we need it to rise. But we don't want the bread itself to, basically, if it dries out, like if we just left it like this to rise without anything on top, the bread would dry out and it wouldn't rise, because it would basically create a film that would stop the bread from doing that. And that's bad. We want a nice, big, fluffy, beautiful bread. So that's why we put the either the tea towel or the saran wrap on it. I'm gonna take a moment because I have how would you say a lot of dough on my hands?
Yes, for a lot of you.
A lot of dough on my hands.
So make sure you rinse out the tea towel, put it on top, and then we try, in the summer, it's a little easier to do because you just find a nice sunny spot in your house. But as it's winter, well, not really anymore. It's quite a nice day, but the heat's still activated in the house, so we'll actually find a nice heater to put it on.
You can also, you'd be surprised if you turn your oven light on, not the oven, just the light. You'd be surprised how much heat that will actually create in your oven. We use it for when we make sourdough. That's how we do our sourdough. You can definitely do that for this. You can just stick it in there with the light on.
Yeah.
At his parents, before in their old house, we would put it by the fireplace.
Yeah.
Just anywhere where it's nice and warm. Like you can get to know your kitchen. I know some people near their fridge, near the top of their fridge, it really gets warm. You can put it there. If you're doing a lot of cooking on the stove, you can put it there. So there's a whole bunch of different options that you got for you.
But if dogs like to get into this,
Yes.
just be careful.
Yeah, dogs should not eat yeast. It's very, very bad for them, like possibly go to the vet bad. So you want to make sure that you don't have it somewhere where a dog can get into it.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a question?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a whole chat.
There's a whole chat. You'll only eat homemade bread, or do you still buy it from the store?
Carlee usually now only eats. Occasionally you can have.
Yeah, there's the one type of bread at Camiso's
You can
that they don't put sugar or dairy in. So if we're like in a pinch,
yeah,
we'll eat that. But usually it's stuff from home now at this
and
point.
then I still buy bread that Carlee can't have from Moody's Bakery on Queen Street. So yeah, because I like cheese bread. And it's
We like to support local as much as
for
we
sure.
can. So.
Yeah. That's the next week.
Okay.
Oh,
Look at. Oh, is there?
How often do you bake?
More in the summer
Yeah.
and over like the winter break, like the holiday break, and like holiday weekends now. This year it's been tough.
Yeah.
To even find the time on the weekend. But I would say we're making a bread probably once a week in the summer.
In the summer, yes. Yeah. Maybe sometimes more. Because we'll sometimes do a pita as well.
And in the fall/winter, there are often cinnamon buns in the house. Often. Yeah, and then but then like pitas we'll make because we'll like as part of our meal planning we do like a pita chicken wrap. So we'll make pitas, and pizza's always in the rotation, so we're always making that too. So
yeah, we bake quite a lot.
A good amount.
Yeah.
The
wish we could do it more.
Yes, but that's okay. So what you're gonna do now? So once you have your bread in a warm spot. You're gonna let it sit until it's roughly doubled in size. Through the magic of television, though, this is what it'll look like when she's ready. So you can see already it's kind of deflating just from the weight of turning the bowl sideways. This one doesn't have apple in it.
Yeah, you can see.
Like soft and spongy compared to the other one. That's good. That means we had a very happy rise with some happy yeast. So I'm just going to use this again because why not? So once it's had that rise and it's doubled in size, what we can do is you can turn it out onto a workstation and give it a quick knead. And you're gonna notice a big difference in texture at this point. Like it's soft and squishy. Trying to think what you could compare this to. You're gonna say a baby's bottom?
Yeah, baby's bottom. A squishy baby bottom.
It's almost like, not quite like slime.
No.
Not as soft, like foam, like that foam stuff almost.
Yeah.
It's very soft and lovely anyways.
Yeah.
So you just give it a quick knead, just until it kind of comes back together. Then you're going to kind of form it into your shape. So one thing that you can do, I don't think I put it in the recipe, but one thing that you can do as an option at this point is some people like to roll this in some oats. So you're definitely welcome to do a little rolled oat on top of it. I'm not a huge fan of it personally, but some people like it. Once it's kind of formed, I'm just going to kind of make sure that the bottom seam is kind of pinched together. So it's going to look kind of pretty at the bottom and like nice on top. My kitchen helper here has a pan with some parchment. You're going to place it in that pan with the parchment, and then you're going to take that towel that's going to be dampened. You're going to take that towel. You're going to take that towel, re-dampen it, and you're going to let your bread sit. The original recipe that I'm using says to let it sit for another 45 minutes. I've never done that ever. I think what I usually do is once it's in the pan and it's covered, I basically set my oven for 400. Thank you, Trevor. And by the time it's preheated, I'll pop it in.
And we keep it nice and close to the oven while
Yeah.
it's
It usually, the second rise usually goes a lot, like 45 minutes. You don't need that long. It'll rise up pretty quickly. But just make sure that your tea towel is damp still. Ours was pretty dry just from sitting on the heater. Let me move this. So the recipe also says to bake for 45 to 50 minutes. I do recommend that you really keep an eye on your bread as it's in. We did one yesterday to help with the magic of television. And what we did is cooked it for 30 minutes. So we usually like to check it in at 30, and it only needed about another 5 minutes. Our oven is pretty hot, mind you. So you do want to keep that in mind. But I would basically set it for 30 and then kind of watch it from there, because you might be surprised if it might be done earlier.
Yeah. And how do you know it's done?
So when your bread is done, first of all, you're going to notice that the top is going to be nice and brown. But what else you're going to notice, this is like the classic way. You basically flip it. Now I know it's hard because it's usually hot when it's out of the oven, but if you have some oven mitts handy, if you give it a knock on the bottom and it sounds hollow, that means it's done. You can also jab a thermometer in there. I usually don't do that, so I think it's about 200
yeah.
Fahrenheit. 200 to, I think 205 is just
Yeah.
for sourdough. I don't know if it's the same for this, but about 200 Fahrenheit, or like I said, just a quick knock on the bottom is all we usually do. So through the magic of television, oh my goodness, it baked already.
Yeah.
We wanted to show you all the steps. So do you care to do
Sure,
the
yeah.
honors? So this is going to be a test. Let's see if I did good. A little nervous now. Oh, beautiful. So let's bring it. You can see it's cooked fully through. This one I didn't do any apples. I think we just did walnuts. We didn't even do millet with this one, but I wanted to make sure we had millet today. So that's our bread. We usually, when we make something like this, we'll slice it and freeze it. Slicing it and freezing it works great.
Yeah, get it to the size that fits your toaster, because this is a really good, it's a really nice way to get, just grab your frozen bread, pop it in the toaster, and away it goes. The one thing I'll say though, is that oftentimes homemade bread doesn't toast like you would normally think it does. It tends to not.
It takes longer and it doesn't get as dark.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave it, you don't want to leave it in the freezer for months. It will get freezer burnt and then it gets kind of gross in the toaster.
Mm-hmm.
But if you made one on the weekend for, a couple of weeks, you could have, some fresh bread. That is, if it lasts after you pull it out of the oven. If it isn't ripped apart really, really fast. By everyone.
Fresh bread is just,
It's something else.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? Oh, look at that, 10 minutes. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
Looks great. Thank you so much, Carlee and Trevor.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wish I could try it. It looks so good.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to have some fresh bread soon.
Yes, we're not going to watch it rise. That will take forever, but yeah, it looks really good. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else that has a question or would like to know more about different kinds of breads? Maybe that Carlee and Trevor can answer.
I was impatient to try this, Carlee. I couldn't wait for now. I did this morning, and because we needed bread for lunch, and it's been a while since I've kneaded it by hand, so I made this in the bread machine. I tweaked your recipe somewhat, and my bread has got apple in it and hemp parts.
Oh, that'd be good.
And that was thanks to Sandy Frost. That was her idea. And I chopped up a whole lot of pepitas in there and put in some cinnamon. I think I'd like to try it another time with maybe chopped up pecans and perhaps molasses.
Ooh,
that would be delicious.
Instead of honey, and still put the apple in there. I got hungry mid-afternoon, so I toasted up a slice and put on some local honey from Grow, and I'll tell you, that was a pretty good snack.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be
great.
Yeah, it looks delicious.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I thank you for that recipe. I will certainly be doing it again, and I used to bake all my bread, kneading it by hand for a family of 5. I think I'd better stop being lazy and get back to doing it.
Are we on?
Thank you.
Say thank you, Win, for your bread.
Thank you, Win, for your bread.
We're eating it now.
We're eating it now.
Yeah, Win gave us a sneak taste today. We drove over
You
to
got a
her
little
house.
preview.
Yeah, and it's delicious.
Good. Yeah,
Thank you.
honestly, we just love that it's like you can make it sweeter or less sweet.
Yeah.
You can really, actually, something we normally do, because I have another recipe that I usually use like for a white bread. At Thanksgiving, we put all of the stuffing spices into the bread. So I put, like garlic and rosemary and thyme and all those things into my bread. You could do that with this one too. Bake it, chop it up, and then put it directly into your stuffing that way. That's if you wanted to take it more savory. Like we've said multiple times, I like I have a sweet tooth, so I usually do the bread sweeter. But you can definitely take this one and go with like a more savory approach as well. So it's very versatile.
I make a savory herb bun. I roll the dough out after it's done some rising with the rolling pin, and then I cut circles with tuna can. I punch a hole in the bottom of the tuna can to let the air out, and then let that rise, and then we get these savory herb buns, and that's really good with a soup too.
Ooh, that would
That would
be.
be very good.
Freezing it?
Yep.
Yeah, does anyone have any other questions? We kind of covered everything on our end.
Will you and Trevor come to Grow and do this live in person when the pandemic's over at Grow?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Anything else, Tammy?
Oh, Roxanne, we can't hear you. I don't know if you have a question or a comment.
Oh no, I just said thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's Faith. Okay, great. Thanks, Faith.
Thank you guys.
Hey!
Hi.
How are you?
Good, you?
Good. I am so green when it comes to baking, so this was so helpful. Thank you. I'm so excited because bread is everything to me. So I'm really pumped about this. I already have like a list of things I'm going to try to put in the next round. So
If you need any recipes,
Mhm.
you know where to find me.
But even just being able to see what your dough looked like, because I'm always like, is this right? Is this how it's supposed to look? Like, yeah. So that was really helpful. I'll be hitting you up for some recipes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Okay. See ya.
See ya.
Anyone has any pictures to share of their final bread, send them along and we'll put them on our Facebook. And
Oh, no. Oh, that sucks.
Those are saying goodbye. Ready?
Goodbye.